But going back to TMS, I can provide a link at the end as well. But going to TMS in just few minutes at the end, for TMS, specifically for substance use, TMS not for depression, TMS for substance use disorder, which is not the topic for discussion today, but just few things that might be interesting. We have a living systematic review that we look into any publication that people are doing with different sort of neuromodulation for substance use disorder. And we target them and follow them. There are some over 200 trials so far, over 36 different protocols, and numbers is increasing over time. And we basically shaped an international network of some 50 labs around the world. Colin Hanlon and Maron Bixson are two main leaders, and we track whatever people are doing in different parts of the world, collaborating and working together. But one interesting thing that might be very important, in a recent meta-analysis, we showed that the most effective protocol that we have so far is exactly the same protocol that we use for depression. So the protocol that is most effective for craving reduction, that doesn't have FDA approvals yet, but that protocol has the strongest evidence for depression as well. So both depression, so left DLPFC, high frequency TMS, it has the same. But yes? This one is, we put everything together, different substances, but there are different kind of categories. You can go to that is the meta-analysis. So if I can share you the slide. So, we have different substances as well, but this is a kind of the combination of all those protocols for across different substances. And it seems that we are tapping into the sort of similar networks in sort of top-down regulation from cortical areas to nucleus accumbens and amygdala, and that is another discussion that we can have. But the last few slides about the safety in terms of, is TMS a safe therapeutic? And we know that when we do TMS within the specific guideline that we have, it's a pretty safe intervention. Specifically in the field of substance use disorder, we recently put together a new paper that is under review with 141 clinical trials in over 4,000 people with substance use disorder. And we look to anybody who has, different alcohol, amphetamine, cannabis, different substances, and not only those who have been in recovery, but also who have been in early recovery, those who have been even treatment seekers, or even those who are non-treatment seekers, are actively using, but they are still in trials. And we involve all those trials. It's a pretty busy slide, different protocols, different studies, but the main issue is there are just only 9 reports of severe adverse effect from these 4,200 something trials, okay? And these 5 severe headache and 1 case of seizure, and this one happened in the sham group. So this one was not even in the active group. And a new nice publication from another friend, Heather Ward from Vanderbilt, she showed that basically she compared in a kind of a smaller sample with some 47 trials that they have details about the side effect. They showed that comparing active versus sham, there is no significant difference between active and sham in terms of the side effect in people with substance use disorder in clinical trial. There are only 2 side effects that there is a significant difference between active and sham, as you can see here, neck pain and cognitive impairment. And in both of them, sham was higher than the active.
So I was under the impression that it's a little bit unpleasant, that it feels like somebody's tapping on your skull.
Have you ever tried it?
I haven't tried it.
I tried it multiple times for myself. So whatever new protocol that we start, I usually do it on my own brain as first. And it is, it's something like it is knocking on your head. And especially if you receive something like 3,000 of that or 600, it gets, you get annoyed.
Water torture.
Yeah. But it is, you get used to it.
You get used to it.
And especially if you have technicians that they are friendly with people and they just.
So people don't complain about it.
People are different. So there are people who are more sensitive to that. And sometimes we do what we call sort of a ramping up. So we start with kind of lower intensities and increase, and people gradually tolerate that. But in terms of the efficacy, just mentioning that when people are on psychotropic medications and we do TMS for them, there are only two groups of psychotropic medication that they have significant effect on TMS. One is psychostimulants and the other is benzodiazepines. And people showed that if people are on psychostimulants, active, I mean, they are already prescribed psychostimulants, the response is going to be higher and remission is going to be higher. And if they are on benzodiazepine, the response and remission is going to be lower. But there is already still response and remission. So they are still responding, but the response is going to be lower. Or if they are on psychostimulants, the response is going to be higher. And that is the only thing that we have. And this is my last slide.
So benzodiazepines seem to inhibit the effect.
And we have that for ECT as well, right? So that is something that we, as you can imagine, it just reduced the amount of neuroplasticity, and it just reduced that effect that you are. And we are talking about somebody who is already on.
Reduce the excitability.
Exactly.
Stimulating gamma.
Yeah. Or even they might need, a higher doses. So that's another question in terms of, okay, if they might need to basically have high level of energy to be able to push neuroplasticity forward.
How about anticonvulsants? Should be the same.
Interestingly, with anticonvulsants, they have not been able to find any significant impact of anticonvulsants.
Which ones were looked into? Anticonvulsants?
We can go to the details and see. That is kind of Andy Luchter's work in UCLA. We can go to the details, but that is the analysis that they had, at least based on the trials that are out there. The last slide. Okay, so there is a new guideline in American Journal of Psychiatry discussing about how to use TMS for people with concurrent substance use disorder and other psychiatric disorders. So if you want to do TMS for people with depression who already have substance use disorder as well. And Victor Tang is the lead author of that paper. And when that paper came out, we had lots of discussion with Victor. We disagreed on many components of that guideline that came out. And we put together a response that one still led that discussion with something like 50 addiction psychiatrists. And we basically expressed our concern about that specific guideline. And like any field of science, so we have been discussing with Victor, so let's just put together something and we can further discuss in terms of why we are not happy with some components of that guideline and how that should be updated. And Victor has been very kind to be a part of that discussion, and he accepted to join us here as well. And now we are working together in terms of how to push the field forward. And the next speaker is going to be Victor, presenting what he is working on and the guideline that we have there. And we are going to discuss further in terms of how we are going to move forward to next steps. Thank you very much.